so much issues which is so wide you can finish talking about them. And as I said, is what we feed ourselves with. And I'm going to point them out gradually from this book, time and time. With the Genesis book, that's what I start from. Genesis, we are in Genesis 4 at the moment, going to 5 and all that. And the Quran also, with certain things I could point. I believe the Quran had this, it started somehow the revelation begin from 98. The Quran is quite a strange book. It's not starting from the beginning. It's real, place which is start from is 98 of the book, and even that is considered the second place of the real. Is considered to be the second to the first revelation. The first revelation, according to the Quran, was in what do you call it? It's a book. It's the book of what do you call it? Surah X, the Roman numeral. I use the Roman numeral in my Quran, which is X. That X for xylophone, C for Charlie, V for Vida, and then I. So XCVI, Surah XCVI. There's those VI, say verses 1 to 5. The chapter 7 of verses 1 to 5. That is where the true first revelation came upon Muhammad or whoever it is, the true revelation of the Quran. And it's not like the Bible starting from Genesis being arranged. No, it is not arranged in that manner. They've just dropped all the books in there, but they sort of suspect that the writings of XCVI is actually the beginning or the very early first revelation that came onto Muhammad. And the second one, the next one to that, is the Surah LXVIII. I don't know whether L is 50 and X, I'm not sure, but I think X is 10. So let's say 60, 68. That could be or something like that. Or is it L is, if L is 100, I forgot my numeral, my Roman numeral letters. Excuse me for that, but I'm sure you can figure out yourself. LXVIII. I know VII to be 8, which is VIII, and the position of the VII is adding up, it's not subtracting. If it goes behind the L, then it's subtracting. So if it could be LX, could be, let's say, I'm not too sure, it could be 90 something, or it could be 68, as I said, or who knows, it could be 68 of the, if L is 50, then it could be 68, Surah 68. That's the second revelation. But I was told it's 90 something, and C could be maybe 100 or something. So let's say 96 verses, chapter 96, chapter 7, verse 1 to 5 is the very first of the Quran, right? The Quran written words. You can find out yourself if you seem to be interested in these things and want facts and truth, to know that the book is really written from God or written from some spirit and not necessarily God. As I said, there are contradictions with the Jesus theory when it comes to the Quran and the Bible. They seem to agree on certain levels of Jesus being the prophet, but Christians believe much more about him not just being a prophet, but being a son of God, a true son of God who was there from the very beginning with God. And the Bible proves that God was not there alone. But as you said, even though most of the Muslims will say we respect Salas, they call him Salasi or so, Salas or something like that, Jesus, they respect him, yet Even though he's a great prophet to them, they still think Muhammad is great. Somehow they think Muhammad is the one who founded him. That's the trick about most of the things that I can't get my head around. Why they have to pretend to sort of, or let's say, embrace somebody that they don't really, you know, sort of admire like the others who choose to sort of admire him. And they even have a story which contradicts. If you read Surah, the books of Surah, okay, let's say Surah, outside Surah 22 to let's say 33, it gives you all the storyline of what Jesus, how Jesus was, I think the storyline, how Jesus was born and all that. So if you read from 22, from what I have here, 22, as you see, reading from 22 right there, it says, and the Quran is also a book that read backwards, so I have to go backwards as I read. So she conceived him, and she retired with him to a remote place. This is something to do when Mary was conceived and was trying to give birth. In the story of the Bible, it's sort of when they were going to Egypt, or they were traveling from Bethlehem, somewhere along the way, that's where she got pregnant, and she ended up in a manger. And they gave birth in a manger. That's Bethlehem. That's where she had to end up into going to some sort of the animal nest, animal, what do you call it, rearing animal area, and then gave birth to a baby. But it's slightly different from this one. He says, so she conceived him, and she retired with him to a remote place. 23, and the pains of the childbirth drove her to the trunk of the palm tree. Now that's nothing to do with the manger here. She cried in her anguish, ah, would that I had died. Ah, would that I had died before this. Would that I had been a thing forgotten and out of sight. That's the Mary crying there. But a voice cried to her from beneath the palm tree. From beneath the palm tree, grieve not, for thy Lord hath provided a rivulet beneath thee. Now, and shake towards thyself the trunk of the palm tree, it will let fall. Shake what? The trunk of the palm tree, it will let fall fresh ripe dates upon thee. So eat and drink, and cool thine eye. And if thou dost see any man say, I have vowed a fast to God, most gracious, and this day will I enter into no talk with any human being. In silence, she sort of she was being told by the voice that was speaking to her. In the Bible, it says the angel came, the angel gave her, but not when she was actually giving birth. It was when she got pregnant at home or somewhere in the town. That's where the angel came into place. But the time of the birth, it doesn't talk about angel coming into place. But this is some of the birth where the angel is speaking. Now let's go on. You get what I'm trying to pull out here. Now, at length, she brought the baby to her people, carrying him in her arms. They said, "Oh Mary, truly an amazing thing hast thou brought." Okay, now the baby has been born. She carried the baby in her arms, and then people amazingly somehow, would I say complimenting her or something, and then, "Oh sister of Aaron, thy father was not a man of evil, nor thy mother a woman unchaste."